She scanned him like he didn't matter, called him a nobody, and walked off. What she didn't realize was that he was the man quietly documenting everything that would soon end her career. They said Judge Corliss Denham didn't play games, and that morning was proof. It was exactly 9:06 a.m. on a bitter Tuesday in February, and courtroom 2B at the Winnebago County Courthouse was charged with a pressure you felt in your ribs before your mind caught up. Attorneys whispered and shuffled papers. The clerk called names with mechanical precision. No eye contact, no small talk, just routine. Judge Denham presided like a monument in a robe, early 60s, expression honed like a blade. Her hair was yanked into a knot so tight it looked like tension itself. She tapped her pen like a ticking clock that would not wait for excuses, interruptions, or anything less than control. Next case, State of Illinois versus Clarissa Wynn. Another petty theft, second strike, small vandalism. But what followed was anything but standard. A man rose from the second bench row and approached the front with steady calm. Late 40s, composed, trimmed beard, charcoal coat, no legal pad, no badge, just a slim leather notebook. His voice didn't tremble. "Good morning, Your Honor. Reuben Cassell. I'm assisting Mrs. Wynn." He never got to finish. Denham's eyes locked on him, razor sharp. "And you are?" Reuben blinked once, unfazed. "I'm here in an advisory capacity." "Are you licensed in Illinois?" she barked, her voice now crisp and echoing. "No, ma'am. I'm not acting as legal counsel." She swatted the air dismissively. "Then you're irrelevant. This court has real cases and real lawyers. We don't make time for nobodies." The air turned heavier. Several people glanced up. One woman put down her phone. The court reporter froze mid-keystroke. Even the bailiff adjusted his grip, like he wasn't sure if this was his moment to step in. Reuben didn't react. He just gave a small nod, backed away from the microphone, and returned to the farthest bench. No outburst, no glare, no sigh. He flipped open his notebook, scribbled a line, and stayed still for the remainder of the docket. Clarissa Wynn's hearing wrapped in under 4 minutes. Bail conditions left untouched. The next name echoed, and without a sound, Reuben disappeared. No one caught him leaving. He didn't exchange a single word, but it didn't feel like surrender. It felt like a line had been drawn quietly near the clerk. No one commented, but the air shifted that tone, that one sharp word. Nobody. It landed wrong. It clung to the room like static. One of the PDs, a younger woman named Lydia Crowley, murmured to the man beside her. "She's gonna regret saying that he shot her." A sideways glance, not agreeing, not disagreeing, just that silent, knowing expression people wear when they sense something building, but aren't bold enough to name it because Judge Denham had authority, and people usually shield authority until it breaks. But what no one present realized, least of all Judge Denham, was who Reuben Cassell actually was. Reuben wasn't one to act on impulse. He didn't shout. He didn't rush. He believed in the strength of stillness and the cost of being misjudged. Most tried to read him at face value, too mild, too dull, too courteous. But below that calm was a mind honed by years of internal review, watching from the inside while the mighty tripped over their own arrogance. Reuben was more than a quiet man in the back row. He was the newly named chief of judicial accountability. Only 4 months back, the role wasn't glamorous. No cameras, no headlines, just a clear directive review misconduct claims in Illinois courtrooms. Quietly, carefully, without advance notice, that trip to Rockford wasn't by chance. Judge Denham's bench had triggered flags half a dozen times in 24 months. Not enough for full-blown media heat, but just enough murmurs to raise concern, anonymous tips about her language, the way she handled defendants who didn't mirror her, especially those who spoke on their own behalf, cutting them off mid-sentence, mocking folks who lacked legal schooling. No smoking gun, just a steady drip that hinted at fire. So Reuben made the drive from Springfield, under a different alias with no credentials showing no escort. He preferred witnessing it firsthand, listening closely to her tone, the shifts in posture. He trusted facts, but he trusted observation more. He'd gotten there before the docket began, saw her walk in, poised but sharp-edged. The bailiff stiffened as she neared a defender. Near the wall, muttered, "Just get through this shift." The chill in that courtroom wasn't just from the vents. It radiated from her seat when she called him irrelevant. That was the kind of slip he didn't expect so soon. But Rubin didn't flinch or argue. He didn't demand an apology or announce who he really was. Not his method. He knew true influence moved quietly. And now it had landed in his lap, her statement, on record, captured in real time by the court system, heard by over a dozen professionals in the room. By the time he opened his car door, he had the first few lines already logged, seated behind the wheel hand. Still, engine off, unjustified dismissal of designated observer, without verification, labeling said party as irrelevant, issued without disturbance or cause failure to confirm authority prior to issuing correction. He took a moment, then typed courtroom demeanor, suggest pattern behavior. Likely he didn't embellish. He wouldn't need to a pair of measured phone calls that afternoon, one of them to internal affairs, to inform them of an upcoming internal evaluation, the second to a colleague in analytics named Bryn Ashford. Bryn had a reputation for tracing long trails through case logs, old footage, and digital transcripts. Rubin tasked her with gathering a full review of Judge Corliss Denham's decisions, rulings, videos, any traceable record that could show repetition. He kept his voice calm, told her to begin. 7 years back, highlight every case with a pro-SE defendant, sort by demographics and outcome severity. Bryn hesitated. Is this going somewhere serious? Rubin looked down, flipping through his notes. I think we already caught the headline, but before reports could circulate or reach upper desks, he had to confirm if Denham matched the profile. Because if so, the judiciary had a decay far worse than expected. Judge Denham's office wasn't impressive by design, just a pair of old windows, a sagging shelf filled with barely used law books, and a heavy desk older than most of her staff. But to her, it was a stronghold where she spoke without restraint, where the performance stopped and the mask dropped, at least in tone, if not in appearance. That same day, after session closed and the halls grew quiet, she paced behind her desk, grumbling while thumbing through the docket for Thursday, 3 more overworked defenders and another one of those social media lawyers.